Commissioners work session. It's Wednesday, May 17th, 2023. It is 9:03 a.m. My name is Ty Menser, Vice Chair of the Board. Commissioner Mejia is excused this morning. Commissioner Gary Edwards joining us through Zoom. We have a half an hour only slated for an update on the Olympia Joint Plan. It's informational briefing. Virtual public attendance can follow along on the Thurston County YouTube channel. We have Joshua Cummings, our Director of Community Planning and Economic Development, along with his key staff members, Jeremy Davis and Leah Davis.
No relation.
And no relation. And we have County Manager Mira Chavez, Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell. So let's get, I guess, you want to introduce the topic?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. This is a long partnership with the City of Olympia as well as with the other cities. Back in 1988, we have signed a memorandum of understanding with Water Olympia Lacey to have joint efforts related to planning within the UGA areas. I believe the last update on the joint plan with Olympia was 1994, and in 2004 was a major update as well. So here we are. There is some elements that needs to be updated. As you know, things change in the UGAs. The UGA itself changes. So today you will hear what those proposals are. I believe we have staff from the City of Olympia join us via Zoom this morning. If you can introduce yourself, that would be great. And then we can hand it over to Josh. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to attend today. I'm Joyce Phillips. I'm the Principal Planner in Community Planning and Development, and I'm here to lend support to this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Josh.
Great. Joshua Cummings, Director of Community Planning and Economic Development. Just wanted to say quick words of appreciation to the Board of County Commissioners for the clear direction to proceed with the joint plans for all of the jurisdictions. This Olympia Joint Plan is one of our legacy items that we've been working through over the past 5 years to try and get the docket cleared so we can move on to other big items. As you know, we've done the HCP, the SMP. Last night you had a public hearing. The comprehensive plan had stalled previously and was accepted by Commerce. So just thinking about all the great work that's happened over the past 5 years, thank you for the clear direction from the board. And thank you also to staff and their partnership with the Planning Commission. There's a lot of good things that are moving forward. I just wanted to take this moment to recognize that having fact-based, respectful dialogue moves these items forward. And I really appreciate the partnership that the county has had with City of Olympia to ensure that when we look at these joint plans, that we find a way, as Commissioner Edwards has said in the past, to create that bridge as these UGA areas we know will then later become annexed and part of the city, so that we don't have the confusion and frustration that we've seen in the past in the development code of those areas. So just knowing that we're working hard to complete some things that have been sitting for quite a while, that this is that next first step, and that we're working collaboratively with our other local jurisdictions, and the Planning Commission has provided great input and direction, and we look forward to next steps. Leah, take it away.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Leah Davis with Community Planning. I'm here today to talk about the Olympia Joint Plan. I will share my screen. I have a PowerPoint. I think. Slideshow. Thank you. All right, so this Olympia Joint Plan update is item CP1 on the current docket. It is also prioritized as number 4 by the board. Today we'll talk about the updated information in the joint plan. We'll summarize a kind of a high overview of the changes. We'll talk about the Planning Commission and the city recommendations, and then we'll discuss the next steps to keep this project on track. As you probably know, once a joint plan is adopted, it becomes an element of the city's and the county's comprehensive plans. Along with residents, it creates a shared vision of the urban growth area, and it provides predictability for residents, predictability and transparency for residents if and when their area of the urban growth area is annexed into the city. And it creates a framework for future development in the urban growth area, and more specifically, a framework for the future updates to the development code. The Growth Management Act requires joint planning between cities and counties. And as the county manager said, the county started the joint planning process in 1988. The first Olympia joint plan was adopted in 1994, with the last significant update almost 20 years ago. This update will have all new information, but it will align with the current comprehensive plans of the city and the county, and also update to current conditions in the county and the city. So we'll have a look at the joint planning area. We'll talk about population and land supply forecasts. And it's important to know that the goals and policies in every chapter have been updated, and more importantly, have been reviewed and approved by every department at the county and the city. So here's a map of the joint planning area. The UGA is the white areas that surround the city limits. It is currently approximately 3,900 acres, and it is primarily low and moderate density residential, with some other zoning mixed in there. So this is a full repeal and replace of the joint plan that was adopted almost 20 years ago. Like I said, we will be updating a lot of information in it. And included in this update are some mapping corrections that were requested by the Geodata department. There's also one site-specific land use proposal that we've rolled into the review of this joint plan. It's the Glenmore Village, and we'll talk about that in detail. So first, we'll look at the population forecast for a 20-year period. You can see there will be significant growth in the city of Olympia and the urban growth area. Unfortunately, there wasn't data that was just about the population forecast for the UGA alone. The Buildable Lands Report, however, did talk about the growth specifically in the urban growth area for the same 20-year time period. Again, it shows a significant demand for housing over the next 20 years, and it shows that based on the population projections, there is enough capacity to handle residential development for that population. So now I'd like to talk specifically about Glenmore Village. There are actually two proposals for this 8.8 acre parcel at the corner of Yelm Highway and Rich Road. It is currently part of a master plan that was approved 15 or 20 years ago. The parcel in question is the red area on the map. It is the commercial part of this planned development. To the south, the pink area is the residential part of this planned development. The residential section has already been built out. No development has yet occurred on the parcel, the red parcel. So first, the owner requested a land use change from planned development to professional offices and multifamily housing, with an associated zoning change from community-oriented shopping center to professional office, residential, multifamily. The community-oriented shopping center, the intent of that zone is to reduce dependence on cars by making walking and biking and shopping nearby more easy. There are some required elements for this community-oriented shopping center zone, the red parcel. One requirement is open space for the residents. Another requirement is a certain percentage of apartments for more dense residential development, and those would presumably be above any commercial development on the red parcel. There's a requirement for a grocery store. There's also a requirement for a certain percentage of single-family homes, and as I said, those have already been built to the south. It also allows for other uses such as restaurants, banks, retail, and office space. The proposed zoning is professional office, residential, multifamily, and it provides a pedestrian-friendly mix of office and residential. So during work on the joint plan, the city highlighted some concerns about the proposed zoning change, noting that a change to this zone would not meet the original intent of the zone or the intent of the already approved master plan. So in discussions with the applicant, he identified the grocery store as the sticking point for the development of this parcel, the requirement of a grocery store. So the city and county staff met with him and came up with an alternative path. And that turned out to be a minor code change to Thurston County Code 23.05, removing the grocery store as a requirement. The applicant indicated that this would meet his needs and submitted an application for the code amendment, which is the second proposal on this parcel, but has since stated that he still prefers the zoning change. So city and county staff held joint work sessions with both planning commissions in October of 22. We then held a joint public hearing in November of 22 and a follow-up work session January 25th of 2022. That last work session resulted in recommendations from both planning commissions. The joint plan has moved through all the processes of the city, resulting in a city council recommendation that you received last month. So here's the breakdown of the vote for the planning commissions. The Thurston County Planning Commission unanimously recommended adopting the Olympia joint plan. And then when it came to the rezone or the code change options, 6 commissioners voted in favor of the code change, 1 voted against, and 1 recused himself. The City of Olympia Planning Commission unanimously recommended adoption of the joint plan with the code text amendment. And then when the City Council took a vote, they unanimously accepted the Planning Commission's recommendations to adopt the joint plan and the code amendment for Glenmore Village. Staff would like to submit an AIS to request a public hearing and formally request it at the board meeting on June 6th. We'd like to hold a public hearing on July 25th and do a follow-up briefing in August. And then the final action on the joint plan can happen with the annual update of the comprehensive plan near the end of the year. And now we have time for questions.
Okay, hold on one moment here, and then you've got July hearing, August follow. Okay, Commissioner Edwards, I'll open up to you.
Okay. Say, I'm curious about the legality of deputizing Olympia City Council people to hear any appeals that might come forward. We do that. I mean, the prosecutor often deputizes somebody in the insurance field or the finance field to bring expertise and deal with a particular topic that they know about. I don't know if there's a particular piece of legislation that allows for that, or if it's pretty universal that one official can deputize another official. Now, because I've been told all along, Lacey has raised this question, and I've always thought it makes sense to those areas of the UGA. Why do we make people jump through all these hoops of going through our process and Olympia's process? Or why can't we at least turn this over to the Olympia City Council or certain members of the City Council, if that's what it takes? I know the county manager and I have had this discussion, but never would it be possible to do something through a deputization process. So that's really the only question I have. I think Olympia is going to end up in the driver's seat. Why not let them be in the driver's seat early and maybe expedite the process for all parties concerned lessen the workload for our own people. And Olympia kind of gets what they need because they have certain issues that they want dealt with. I just don't understand why we have to have the bureaucratic blockage in place all the time. So I'm just going to ask that maybe at our next briefing, could we get a legal opinion from some of our legal staff, if that's at all possible? And a lot of times you'll hear from legal, well, there's nothing that says you can do that. Well, but is there anything that says we can't do that? Sometimes you have to think outside the box. So I don't really have any question on Leah's presentation, and I'm hoping that it sounds like her and Joyce have worked together on this, got it pretty well figured out, including with the owner of the property. So I'd like to see them just proceed and be able to get it done. But the other issue I'm talking about the deputization, that could maybe cover the whole 3,900 acres, and it'd be a limited commission. I know law enforcement does that once in a while. So anyway, I don't know if anybody wants to try to tackle that now, but it looks like the staff folks have done a good job and got it all figured out.
So Commissioner, I don't want to answer for staff, but I can tell you that I proposed such a scheme with Lacey on a pilot basis at a targeted area. And what I got back was a long email memo from Josh's team with all the different hurdles that they explored it, but they hit several different hurdles, summarized it, and I can provide that to you, but
And
anyone
if I
else wants to
may,
take a stab, there just turned out to be a whole bunch of issues that came up.
and the memo was not necessarily generated only by the county. It was in
correct.
coordination with the city of
Yeah,
Lacey.
it wasn't a lawyer's opinion, it was staff from our CPED and Lacey's equivalent department of all the things that they couldn't really iron through.
I mean, we can certainly dive more into it as to what Commissioner Edwards is asking. But if I may, Commissioner Edwards, what you asking is the permitting process, not necessarily related to this joint plan. Is that correct?
Well, actually, it would be the whole process to allow for individuals that are in the driver's seat, like even like maybe Joyce or something, maybe have a dual deputization. I don't know, Commissioner Menser, I don't know if you actually specifically asked if there was a way around some of this stuff, and maybe the deputization process might cover that. But I don't know why we couldn't grant some authority, if that's what it takes, to the city of Olympia to deal with the UGA in the manner that they see fit. I guess we can always do some kind of a joint thing, but I just wish there was some way for the benefit of staff and the benefit of the communities and the applicants that put in for this stuff, that because really the Growth Management Act was not thought out 100%. There's an intent there, obviously, but I think they missed the boat on a few things and have created a monster maybe that really could be pulled back a little bit and simplified. That's all I'm looking for.
Yeah, I didn't use the word deputization, but I was asking exactly the same thing that you're asking, because it had been proposed to me by Lacey and I thought it was worth exploring. So
Can I jump in, Commissioner?
yeah.
So I want to respectfully just kind of pull back a little bit and recognize and totally understand the frustration that I think I've heard from the mayor of Lacey, from Commissioner Mincer, and now from Commissioner Edwards. Completely recognize the fact that permitting has been difficult because it's complicated, because our joint plans haven't been updated, as is referenced in this document, since 2004. And so, Commissioner Edwards, there is a way to resolve those complications, and that's by updating our joint plan. So exactly what we're presenting to you today is the solution to the problems that have been festering since we haven't updated the plan for the past 20 years. And I think that that same issue will be addressed when we update the Lacey joint plans as well and have that complete, as well as the Tumwater joint plans. And so we're in the midst of this cleanup process that hasn't happened for over 2 decades, nearly 2 decades. And I hear the frustration, Commissioner Edwards and Commissioner Minzer. The path to resolution is just this tool, that we have now a bridge towards having our codes align better is then the step forward to then annexing into the future. And so that's really, I think, Commissioner Edwards, this hard place where we're at, because there's been so much complication over the past few years that has led to this, why don't we just do something? Well, the something is this. And so that's why we're excited to bring this forward to you to start to address those complications that have been sitting for so long, and appreciate the input from the city of Olympia to make sure that that bridge is built strong. So I know it's not maybe the answer you're looking for, because it's not, it just seems like another bureaucratic process, but this is the bridge that gets us to a place of better alignment in our codes and processes.
Okay, so we can get, we're gonna make some changes, it sounds like, in this alignment. And so the city of Olympia is really, I think they've already said, well, this is the way we would like to proceed, and we just need to get it on our through our process of agreeing with them. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I'm kind of a long-winded question, but thank you. And I just want to point out to the public that might be watching this, Commissioner Menser and I we've never talked about this. So it's kind of a surprise that we were both trying to approach things from a couple different ways. And hopefully when we get 5 commissioners, this type of void won't happen on knowledge about different things.
I'll say also, when Commissioner Minzer first came into office, he's like, why haven't we done the joint plans? We got to do these. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. Let's go. So that we're at this point is really a success. So thank you.
But also, I think the joint plans creates a single umbrella, really, to process permits. But I think the question remains how we can delegate the permitting activities to a different jurisdiction.
I hear that question.
So, and we explore that, and I believe you and Rick Walk at that time were very diligent in determining what the opportunities and the challenges associated with delegating the permitting process, which is a little bit different than creating the umbrella of the joint plans.
So the initial frustrations came from the fact that we had different codes that were trying to be implemented. And then why not just implement X, Y, and Z? So the how to do it, I would say that Rick Walk is a seasoned professional, and he did a great job of outlining the items to discuss. He did not say that we could not do it. He said these are the items to consider if we were going to do it. And the main one is the appeals process. At what point and who sees what appeal if someone thinks that the city got the interpretation of the county's code wrong?
Right.
And that's really the nexus of this. But I truly go back to my original statement that I believe that a lot of this frustration will start to ease as we build this bridge. It's not about so much the who as the what. And the what hasn't been updated for nearly 20 years.
So I have a few questions. Some of them are connected to what Commissioner Edwards is asking in a weird way, but I'm just a little confused about the scope of this, because like in Tumwater, we were given a set of parameters or changes, and then it was said that there would be more specific development code chapters that would be updated or harmonized or whatever at a later point.
Correct.
Is that the same structure we're dealing with here? Because when I see your overview of changes, it seems very high level. It doesn't seem like standards for, curbing and sidewalks and that kind of nitty gritty, like what's the developer have to do in the UGA?
Right. This is a comp plan. So it is the vision, and it contains goals and policies for the future of the urban growth area. And from this comp plan, which is called a joint plan, that we work together with the city of Olympia on.
Yeah. From
there, we will do the development code updates. I am in the process currently of doing the Tumwater urban growth area development code updates. That's I've been working on that for probably the last 6 months.
So what in my brain was a joint plan is actually a 2-piece process. It's a joint plan vision update and then a development code change update.
It's the same, yes, the same way that the comprehensive plan works for the rural county. It's, here are the things we'd like to see in the future in the county, and then we take those goals and policies and we turn them into code regulations that help us meet the goals and policies in the joint plan or the comp plan.
And that piece is where I think Josh's point is on point, because I think once those are done, if they're done well, it will make permitting easier and smooth. Even if we can't deputize one jurisdiction to do it all, it should make it a lot smoother.
Hey, Commissioner Edwards, we can hear your background conversations.
Is that correct?
Yes.
We're just not quite to that point.
Yeah, this has to be done first so that we know what the goals are for the urban growth area.
The umbrella, like the county manager says.
Mhm.
So that answers that. The mayor had a letter here from April 19th. She asked for a few changes that seemed extremely minor. Are we going to be able to incorporate?
Oh, easily. Those have already been done. It's, changing the name of the park and then adding a couple words for clarification. Those have been made, yes.
Okay, very good. And then just out of curiosity on this, I don't, on this Glenmore Village, I don't really have any problem with the compromise that's been worked out by the party. So I'm just asking for my own benefit. Like, originally, before this change was requested, there was, you said, a master plan and this is in the UJ. Did the county create this? Was this the county's vision that it would be done in the way that it was zoned originally?
Well, the zoning is again, a joint planning situation with the city and the county.
So it had always been a joint effort with Olympia?
Yes, and then the developer, made a plan and it turned into a plat-like process for a master plan for the acreage, with the residential to the south and the commercial to the north, to create a master plan for that area. And then since the commercial hasn't been developed yet, somebody has requested a zoning change.
Okay.
And that's how we got here today.
But it's a change to a prior joint effort between Olympia and this county, I guess what I'm trying to
Yes,
say.
yes.
It wasn't just like the Thurston County had that vision and now somehow it's.
No, it was a joint plan with the city and then joint adopted development code. And then the county provided a permit for the development as it is on there, the residential with the commercial at the community-oriented shopping center zone on the red parcel.
Okay. All right, well, we're.
Ty,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Ty, could I get one real quick clarification in there?
Yep.
I know we're getting on to another issue, but the county manager brought up the authority to issue the permit, so to speak, and how would all that happen? I guess I'm going to use a couple pretty simplistic examples, and I don't know if there was authority in that, but in my sheriffing days, oftentimes I would deputize a citizen to do a certain thing. Maybe it was to write a disabled parking ticket violation. I know we as county commissioners authorized the county manager to sign off on completed developments prior. And the process before was it had to come in front of the Board of County Commissioners to do just that. And that added about 6 weeks on to the process for those people trying to make it work. So I'm just looking for an avenue to expedite. And I'm so tickled to hear Commissioner Mentzer talking the same way. Maybe we'll get a real good view of any possibilities here. So thank you very much. And thank you to staff for doing this.
Very good, thank you guys.
Thank you, commissioners.
With that, this work session is adjourned and we'll be on a different Zoom for our
Yeah,
next
we
session.
have a different Zoom.